Hi, I'm Val Hart in San Antonio, Texas, founder of Val Hart and Friends at valhart.com. Welcome to the Real Dr. Doolittle Show, the show for animals and the people who love them. I've been called a real-life Dr. Doolittle many times in my career as an expert animal communicator, behaviorist, pet psychic, and master healer. My mission and passion is to improve the lives of animals the world over by helping humans learn how to speak their language, how to understand their viewpoints, and heal. After all, our love of animals helps us be better humans, and the more balanced and healthy we are, the more balanced and healthy they can be too. Be sure and look for my CDs on iTunes. And to find out more about my work and to receive your free Quick Start Animal Talk course, just go to my website at valhart.com. While you're there for a limited time, you can also apply for a complimentary Happy Animal Assessment session. And if you want to learn how to be your own Dr. Doolittle, check out the world's first complete Animal Communication Made Easy system available now on my website at valhart.com. Thank you and enjoy the show. Today I'm talking with Jackson Galaxy. Jackson is a unique presence in the pet psychology world. Not only is he a rather tall fellow with a shaved head and arm sleeves of cat tattoos, but he's also exceptionally experienced, he's well-known, highly regarded, and he's been working with cats for over 16 years, including 8 years in a high-stress cat shelter at the Humane Society of Boulder Valley in Colorado. It was while working at the shelter that Jackson's fascination and empathy towards cats grew. Jackson was a musician, a songwriter, and an actor, and you know what? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
And you brought your performer's fascination with observing the everyday. You know, I love that, the conscious awareness of the moment, right?
Right.
And the constant accessing of deep emotionality to help you at the animal shelters. And I can't imagine a better person to be with the animals at the shelters. So you did a lot of research, you read everything you could find on cats, and you applied what you learned to adoption, to counseling, and to ongoing socialization of the resident cats. And you talk about a gift that made you the cat listener that you are today. I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. If you've done so many other things, and I heard a little rumor that you've got TV shows coming up. We'll have to pump you for that later. Get whatever details we could get. You know, we love that stuff. But I want to welcome you to the show. So thanks for being here, Jackson.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Val.
Great. You know, I know you have a goal, and it's a common one, which is what makes us kindred spirits here, and it's to prevent the overcrowding of shelters, prevent the abandonment of animal companions, and the ultimate killing of animals in the country. And I know near and dear to your heart and mine is the killing of cats in our country. And I know that you're affecting a change in cat culture, and I hope me as well. I mean, that's part of our goal together.
Right.
Both on the guardian side, the veterinarian side, and also on the shelter rescue side.
Right.
And so we want all of our fellow kindred spirits to help spread the word, you know? So, yeah. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So tell me about the night the shelter cats gave you the gift that made you a cat listener.
Well, I had already begun to do a lot of reading about cats and behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I started working at the shelter. To be honest, I was a musician, and I wanted to work with something other than human beings. And I just wanted something, a little more simple, and cleaning poop out of cages for 8 hours a day was fine with me.
Yeah.
So that's how I started. But as time went on, I realized even though I adore anything animal that I come in contact with, that cats and I sort of had an understanding that I thought everybody had, and I guess I was wrong, And
no.
The problem was that shelter at the time, as well as so many others, and most, were very dog-centered, and that meant that the enrichment programs were 100% dog. So you could take a dog, and to keep them from going kennel crazy, you could have volunteer training sessions. You could have more of a complete foster picture. But cats had nothing. And so, we were killing a lot of cats. And obviously obviously more than dogs. And being the only guy there who was tuned into cats, they started sort of using me in that capacity. And so I was doing a lot of research anyway and doing a lot of hands-on. And I felt really blessed that I was able to work with my cat friends, on a moment-to-moment basis and say, oh, wait a minute, I want to try this out, and go and try it out, So it was about, at this time, I was the community outreach liaison for the shelter, and I was preparing a presentation for the next day, and I have the worst, for a cat guy, I've got the worst ADD in the world. I cannot focus. The only time I could focus is 1 o'clock in the morning when nobody else is around.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So I'm there. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was just a really horrific thunderstorm going on. And our shelter at that point was it was falling apart. I mean, and so my office, the wall to my office, basically connected to the cat impound area.
Okay.
And so any cat that came in stray or was surrendered and due for evaluation the next day, plus at that point it was kitten season, so there was kittens everywhere.
Yeah.
So we were absolutely jam-packed full of cats, and every one of those cats was screaming. And there was no way I was going to get my work done. I was going nuts. So I just walked into the impound area and started working. Anitra Frazier, who wrote The Natural Cat, and also I don't know if she's a co-owner, but she was, I think, a co-founder of Halo. Cool. Okay. She knows everything about everything. I mean, honestly, she really, I sort of bow down to her. And at that point, she had been talking about this concept of the cat I love you, and that's what she called it. For me, it was this way of, I had seen it done before. I could do it for sure, which was it's a slow blink.
Okay.
That by sort of relaxing your face, putting no intention behind your gaze, softening your eyes, making eye contact in that respect, and doing a slow blink. And what she would say is that, eyes open, you're saying the word I. This is to yourself. You say the word I, close your eyes, love, back open you.
Wow.
I love you, just like that. And that's just to put a generic intention behind your eyes. And she would do that walking down the streets in New York, the cats in the brownstones, and that's how she discovered it, that this was this way in with cats. And I just at that moment said, okay, I got to get these guys to calm down, and this is how I know how to do it. And as it went, it was probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours, going cage to cage to cage to cage, every one of them just mellowing out until the point where I just sort of, the room was quiet, and I sat down on the floor, and that was the moment where you go, okay, I can do something here. And these guys just gave me a gift. And
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and there's no looking back at that point.
No, it's like you tapped into the secret handshake.
Exactly. If the cats had a Mason type of deal, right?
That's right. That's right. The catatonic lodge, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where, it's funny, and I'm sure that you have the same experience with your communication skills, where you just thought that everybody had this. Yeah. You know what I mean? That you thought this was part of our shared experience. Yeah. And it's not. And,
it's not, no.
But that's not to say, and I know that you teach this as well, it's not to say that everybody can't have it.
And what they need is the concept and the willingness. And that's it, right? And a little time to practice.
It's the willingness, the availability, and the commitment.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean, that's really all it boils down to. I mean, the fact is that if it weren't for the fact that everything the cats do fascinates me. If it wasn't for that, remember, I have the attention span of a fruit fly. I'm off, in the middle of the sentence I'll lose myself, but if I'm watching cats, I mean, I've had experiences where I'll just be sitting in a cat colony, a feral colony, or we have a rescue up north from here where there's 700 cats, and you just sit there watching them navigate through space and how each muscle moves, how they interact with other beings, and it just never gets old for me. So that also is a blessing.
It is. Wow, I love that. That is so cool. I'm going to practice that with mine. I mean, I've had interesting experiences, with cats. I was known as, even when I was a little bitty kid, little bitty girl, I could, connect with the ferals, and they would come up and let me pet them and, rub their bellies and carry them around, stuff. But yeah, I really get it. I get that.
Well, I mean, I think that the people's experiences with feral cats is so telling because really you have to make yourself as unhuman as possible in order to be accepted, because there's almost an ingrained distrust of anything on two legs. So you really have to put your cat hat on pretty much and see the world as they see it, and that's the only way to gain their trust in a relatively quick fashion.
I like that you said that, because that leads me to one of my questions for you. Seeing the world as they see it.
Yeah.
As you said, it is not a human viewpoint at all.
No.
Right? So tell us more about how cats see the world.
And you know what? Just to put an exclamation point on that.
Okay.
It's not a human, and it's not a dog. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's so many people who get frustrated because the cat's not acting like a dog. And that, in my experience, has led to a quicker resignation of a problem and a disintegration of any bond that might have been there, and the subsequent surrender to a shelter, or just open the door and let the cat out. And that's, if I have a job, that's my job, is to show you what the cat's eye view looks like, and what makes them. Because look, if I can be fascinated by them, I do believe that most everybody else will be fascinated by them, and that comes from somebody who I'm fascinated by dogs too, and horses, and I adore them, But for some reason, I feel like it's the cats that are the ones who get misunderstood, and I think that misunderstanding is what leads to, like I said, sort of an emotional divestment.
It does. You know what? There's so much. Cats get a bad rap. They get a bad rap because they are so different. They're so independent. Not like a dog that hangs on our every move and just wants to please us and play with us. And cats look at us very differently. Okay, so go ahead.
And just like you had. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But there is that thing of that I was just saying that I started experimenting with a blog. They've told me that you got to do a blog, because I have my short attention span, I started videoing it.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, video's cool.
So I did my first installment last night, and I'm going to post it probably the next week or so.
Okay.
But in it, I said there's that argument of semantics. The difference between what I don't know if you know my friend Kate Solisti, but she's
heard of her?
As animal communicator as well.
Right.
She used the words to describe cats in terms of detached love. I love that.
Okay.
Detached love. That's what they embody, and that we confuse that with aloof, and that's what I was talking about in the video blog post last night. Is that the word aloof implies a disinterest, and that's not the case. They're not disinterested in you.
Yes.
But you have to really check your ego at the door when dealing with a cat.
That's
you
right.
know, that's the bottom line, is that, look, I'm saying get a dog. Get 6 dogs. Have dogs in your life. They're beautiful, and they will greet you and fetch you things and treat you like the god or goddess that you are. But the cat will not do that. And the main difference is that the world doesn't revolve around you. The world revolves around the territory, and you happen to be an important part of the territory, but you're not the be all. You know? So that's really the first main distinction in terms of seeing the world from a cat's eye view, that you have to realize that just because you provide warmth, affection, food, and routine doesn't necessarily mean that you are the world. In fact, not even remotely necessarily. So
not even remotely necessarily.
No. I mean, their main concern is territorial stability, is knowing that what my territory looked and felt and smelled like yesterday, it looked and feels and smells like today, and will tomorrow. And that's their main concern. You know, so everything that we do in terms of enriching their environment is based around that need. And I don't want that to sound cold.
Well, I don't hear it as cold. I mean, somebody might, I guess, but to me, like you said, enriching a cat's environment and enriching, in effect, our relationship with cats depends on us understanding these concepts. And this is a critical one. It establishes the comfort zone. And if a cat's in a comfort zone, then they can relax, right? And that, as you said, it depends and is so connected to the concept of my world looks and feels and smells like it did yesterday and today and tomorrow. And when things change without their permission or participation, I guess we should say, and then we've got a problem. And they're going to let us know about it in some, you know, in some ways that...
in some undesirable ways, right?
Trying to figure out a way to say that,
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And you know, again, we get back to the concept between the distinction between detached love and aloofness. That detached love means that you still get the love. You still get the cat, you know, depending on their personality, the cat who sits on your chest, sleeps with you, purrs constantly when they're near you. There is still that, but they feel most of the time just fine surveying you as much as. But and that being said, I think the one thing that you and I would both strongly agree with is that, you know, it's all about the individual. I mean, it's you know, like a bunch of cats sitting around right now talking about all humans, and saying all humans do this, all humans define their world. Well, of course, me and you would take incredible offense to that because
maybe
we want to be individuals.
Wait a minute.
Different, But you know, I was just again, I was saying this in the video blog last night, was that yes, that you have the detached love. In the meantime, I have a cat who literally will shove her entire head in my mouth while I'm sleeping because she needs to be that close to me. You know, you can buck her off of you 12 times in an hour, and she will come back 13 times. She just needs to be, you know, near my pulse points in my neck. She needs to be there, you know. So that's just her experience and her personality. You know?
Oh, that is wild. I love that.
You know, wild is a nice way of saying it. It's not so nice when you wake up with a cat's head in your mouth. You're the lion tamer of the small lion. I know. I wish she would know, though.
Maybe she has a past life of you guys as she was the lion, you were the trainer. She's still trying to complete that trick.
Why in my sleep? You know what I mean? It must have something to do with snoring. But.
Right. Well, that could be too. She's trying to see what the heck all that noise is, where that noise is coming from.
It's the kind of equivalent of stuffing a sock in it. You know?
Oh, that's great. our new cure for snoring, right?
Yeah, exactly. The cat head. Right.
The cat head.
Actually, I had a client who,
I love it.
He snored. He had terrible sleep apnea, which is what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
But the cat would actually pee in his mouth.
Oh, my God.
Well, she was literally trying to put the fire out.
No!
I can laugh because it wasn't me, but
we're laughing. I'm sure he wasn't. That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Wow, but there they are. They're trying to help, aren't they? Honest to God, they're trying to help. They're connecting.
Or but like I said, stuffing a sock in it. Yeah, just make it stop. Whatever.
I have a feeling that she's wondering where it's like there's this vibration with the snoring, right? And if you think of the purring, there's a vibration with purring, and so maybe she's trying to figure out what's broken with your purr.
Exactly. Yeah.
I tried to do a little CAT scan in there and figure out so she can fix it or something. I don't know.
Well, and there's also this is a very interesting thing that there's so much we don't know about the purr, and in terms of the vibrations per second, the thing that facilitates healing.
Yeah.
That actually the purr actually facilitates the quickening of physical healing and things like that. And also, the other thing is that we know that when cats do the kill bite on their prey, they'll kick up their purring as well in order to put their prey into sort of a trance before they kill them.
Wow.
So I always think, that's the other thing about the apnea and the snoring is, the cat is recognizing, hey, we need to sync up our vibrations here,
Yeah.
That's my gentle way of looking at it, besides stuffing a sock in it.
Right. I got it. Oh, that's funny. Right. Well, this is so much fun. Okay, I want to ask you about, I know you partnered up with Dr. Jean Hovey to co-found Little Big Cat. Want to talk about that for just a minute and what y'all do there?
Well, I mean, we're now sort of across the country from each other, so I mean, we are the best of friends. We don't. Little Big Cat is not sort of an active entity much anymore. I mean, we still have our database at littlebigcat.com, and we'll always keep that up. It's been Jean's labor of love for a number of years. Again, I don't like to type, but I just dictate things. But and she can type for days. But she's also a font of information, especially when it comes to nutrition and really hot button topics like declawing. I mean, she's really become a go-to authority. So we keep that database up. But when we started Little Big Cat, basically when I left the shelter in, I guess it was 2001 maybe, at that point my private practice and the practice I was providing for the shelter, and it just started getting too big, and I needed to sort of reassess where I could be of the most help, so I left.
Yeah, okay.
But I was still fairly insecure, I guess, to be out there by myself, and people had been, it was Kate Celisti actually, had been saying, you guys have got to meet each other. She's a cat vet. You're a cat behaviorist. You guys are absolutely going to love each other. You have the same core values. And we met at just a gathering of pet professionals that Kate would host every month, and it was just a networking thing. And within literally 15 minutes, we started a business.
Wow.
We met and we said, no, we have a lot of work to do, and let's do this work. And
wow.
Yeah, and that was almost 9 years ago. I mean, it was long, and it was incredible that at that point it was so much an important thing that we had to do. And all we did was we said we're going to offer mind-body consultations. So that means that we're going to come over to your house. She's going to assess the body. I'm going to assess the rest. And that way we can have what we consider to be the most comprehensive consultation that you could possibly have with your cat.
That's brilliant. A brilliant approach. That's partly what I found, in my practice is that you can't just focus on one thing. You take the whole being because they're, guess what, connected. The emotional, mental, body, everything is all connected.
And I feel weird because, I mean, I was definitely spoiled by Jean, and as a cat-only veterinarian, She had a level of understanding of cats, and plus, and this is rare, I think, is that she was willing to learn from me, and and so that those qualities made us incredibly functional together, and but we've both taken away things from each other that are invaluable. I mean, we both hooked up. You know, I live in California now. She's still in Colorado, and we hooked up this year. She came out, the Paw Project in California, who spearheaded the declaw bans in or bringing them to the city councils everywhere from San Francisco to L.A. To Hollywood. I mean, to Santa Monica, and she brought both Jean and I to these city councils to speak in front of them, and again, it was that feeling of having a 1-2 punch that really, I think, helped our cause and got all the bans passed, and it was really so. Yeah, so Jean and I still, and also Jean began Spirit Essences back in '95.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit Essences is our flower essence line for animals, and she started in '95 when we got together. And again, I think it was 2000 or 2001. The business had sort of wilted because it was just a lot of effort, and it was something that I really wanted to do. So I sort of resuscitated it, and we went to town on it, and it's now a really great business, and it helps a lot of animals. So.
Yes, it does. I'm thinking some of our listeners may not know what that is. You want to give us a little brief on what a flower essence and spirit essences are?
Well, flower essence therapy is it's a holistic modality. Flower essence have been around since the 1930s. Dr. Edward Bach is the one who started flower essence therapies. And you would know his name. Bach is also Rescue Remedy, which is as well known as essences get. They sell them in all the big chains now.
They do.
Basically, what we're trying to do is gently affect change by allowing the person or the animal to change themselves. Now, that sounds all hokey, but the thing is that we have flower essences. The way you make a flower essence, literally, you put the flower in brandy or vodka or some alcohol to hold its energetic signature. Put it in the sun, and usually it's about a 24-hour sit. And after that, the energetic signature of that flower is in the brandy, and you then have an essence. So it's not aromatherapy or anything like that. It's energetic signatures. Each flower, or in some cases, we have practitioners who formulate essences of events of animals. And of course they don't take the physical animal, but we have over 400 different essences that we use from all over the planet, and that allows us to say, okay, we have a very specific problem here, and let's just take separation anxiety. And we know that this is what happens to a dog or a cat when they're or a horse or a bird when they're going through separation anxiety. How do we address it? And we go through the keywords. We go through our 400 essences, and we pick usually between 10 and 15 that we think will address it well.
Wow, interesting.
And then we bring it out to our clients. And here's the cool thing is that between Jean's clients, her patients, and mine, we get to test things. Say, what did we get? What didn't we get? Bring it back to the drawing board, perfect it. So that's kind of the unique take that we've been able to have on it. And to be honest with you, I've always been astounded by the results. Jean's always expecting it, and I'm just one of those guys who, I'm a prove it to me type of person, and being the owner now of the company for however long, I still get it proved to me on a daily basis. And
yeah, it's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
I got a letter this morning, actually. We have a formula called Rainbow Bridge, which is basically there to allow the animal to release this world during their last, whether it's days, weeks, hours, just to let the animal know that it's okay to release your job, you know,
okay.
and at the same time for the human to get out of self a little bit and allow.
Right. So your people take these too, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And she wrote us a letter and let us know about the passing of her cat this weekend, but how okay it was.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
It was her 20-year-old cat, and it was this beautiful memorial, but it was also a testament to what the beauty of what I would call intentional medicines can be.
Yeah.
These flower essences not only work on an energetic, vibrational level, but they also there's a certain measure of intentional allowance, if that makes sense. That by putting the essences on your hands and then you touching your animal, that you facilitate connection and intent, and it's so again, it's one of those things. It's amazing how things have fallen into place over the last 10 years, where I can't imagine what else I'd be doing with my life,
Yeah. Well, you were born to this,
Yeah, for sure, which is amazing because I think that we're all born to something, and to have the the privilege, I guess, of being able to serve that is it's pretty special. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Oh, so I want to go back to you touched on a couple of specific issues people have with cats.
Yeah.
Separation anxiety, and then of course end of life. Transitioning. Let's talk about some of the more common problems people have with cats. So give them some clues on what to work with. What would you say the number one problem is maybe that cat owners have? And do you have any tips that you can give us for that?
Well, I mean, I think that really it comes down to two major things that I spend most of my days dealing with, which is litter box issues and aggression.
Yeah.
Those two things speak to the root of what we don't understand about cats.
Exactly.
And that's what it leads to the heightened frustration and, getting to the end of your rope a lot faster than you would with your child or your dog or your husband or wife or... when you're getting bit or needing poop and pee off, I was going to say the poop and pee issue seems to be that hot button topic.
It's a hot button. You know it is, yeah. It's a nasty hot button.
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to give blanket advice to cure litter box problems.
Well,
the main thing that you break it down to is it physical? Is there a physical component?
Yeah.
So I will say to everybody, before you ever work with me, before you ever come to your home, before we do a phone consult, clear it with your vet.
Right.
So that means going in and, look, if the cat has diarrhea, you should be doing a fecal exam.
Yeah.
If your cat, one of the hints that your cat is expressing a physical issue. Now, again, I can't be totally blanket about this, but it's usually one of those things that goes ding, ding, ding as soon as someone says it, is when your cat poops or pees right by the box.
Okay.
It's almost that message of, I'm trying. I'm trying here, but the box represents pain to me. It represents discomfort. I don't know that it's my body that feels like crap right now. I know that the box makes me feel like crap, and it hurts. So why would I keep going in there? I'll go next to it with the hope that the evil box won't make me hurt. So, when you see something right by the box, most of the time, that's what's going on. So, again, immediately into the vet. I know that we all, these days especially, have very limited incomes. When someone calls me and they say, I need your help, and I say, well, I'm going to cost this much money, But before that, you got to go to the vet, and it's going to cost you this much money. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's
that's
how
the
it is.
cost
of having an animal. Being a caretaker.
I was going to. That's a great way of putting it. Yes, exactly. It's about a commitment that you made, and you have to do it. And so I would say, it's that normal package of urinalysis and or fecal exam and a blood test to determine if there's anything going on, because we don't want to be sitting here with me pretending that there's a behavioral problem when they're really raising that red flag and saying, youch, I hurt.
So, the one thing I have to add, Jackson, is that sometimes the vet tests and the way the vets are looking at the problems, they simply don't catch something. I've had a lot of clients come to me, and, the vets have given them a clean bill of health. But when I ask the cat says, yes, I'm having trouble. It hurts. It doesn't hurt all the time, but it hurts sometimes. Or it used to hurt. I still think it's going to hurt. That can be an issue also. But, they know. As a communicator, that's, of course, my job. So if the cat says, who knows better than the cat how they're feeling, right? So even sometimes if your vet says that your cat's okay, there may be something else going on still physically. It doesn't rule it out completely, is what I'm trying to say.
And honestly, sometimes the guardians need my permission, I guess is the word, or they need permission to say, no, I know something's wrong.
Yes.
Because, a lot of times you're absolutely right. You're not going to get what you need from a vet. For instance,
too often.
Let's say we've got a problem with inappropriate urination, and the cat, and I look at the cat, and this is just, I trust my gut, and I know that there's something going on, and I know that there's something going on just by the combination of gait, tail posture, social interactions. I know something's up. So they take the cat to the vet, they do a urinalysis, clean, nothing's going on. I say, no, go back. They do an x-ray, nothing's wrong. They go back again, and they do an ultrasound, and in the ultrasound, they see the stones. It's there. There's something there. And I know that there a lot of times, and I'm not trying to disparage an entire community here, but there's a lot of times when the vet's office will be like, why are you throwing money away?
Right.
Because, this ultrasound is now going to cost you $500 or $600 or however much it costs. Go with your gut.
Yeah.
Because nobody, not a doctor, not me, nobody knows the animal that you share your life with more than you do.
Right, exactly. And, and talk to them. Learn how to communicate with your cat.
I was going to say that what you and I do is we give the guardians permission to trust their relationship with the animals they share their lives with. Exactly. And that's more than anything. It's not like we're to a certain degree we're teaching you things, but to another degree we're giving you permission to trust what everyone has, which is that other sense.
Yeah, that's it. So we've got a litter box problem. We have to evaluate and determine the physical component wherever, if that's an aspect, of this. And so what's the other component of a litter box problem?
Well, again, the things that we're starting to look at past that point, we're going to look at social threats. We're going to look at, so we're looking at other animals in the house. And once we've maybe ruled that out, then we're looking at threats from without. Are there stray animals in the neighborhood that are setting them off? Remember, this all comes back down to that concept of territorial security. How is the Alamo looking today? Is the Alamo looking threatened? Well, then this is my fortress and this is my moat. I'm going to put a moat around the fortress, and that's just something. Again, that's the next place we would start looking. Where are the threats coming from?
Right. Get the moat concepts.
literally a moat. A moat
literally
of poop and
a pee poop moat.
Yep.
Yep,
and
that's it.
Yeah, and well, at least they don't use flaming arrows, so to speak.
Well, I guess I hope you don't light it on fire.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think those are the main places that we would start looking, and past there, there's always nooks and crannies to hide in behaviorally, but that's where I come in.
Yeah.
But I mean, the things that you're looking at are things like, for instance, perimeter marking. Do you see marking that's being done on the doorways, windows, outward-facing walls, perimeters? That's your mode. That's the cat letting the world know that this belongs to me. I think that one of the things that you have to look at, and this is the thing that I talk about all the time, is from a cat's eye view, the world comes down to ownership. What do I own, and what do I not own? If I don't own it, why don't I own it? And if I don't own it, I'm going to own it. This is what the cat sees the world as. And so, getting yourself into that mindset, you're going to find solutions to a lot of problems. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk you down the path, that's all. And if I can leave you with anything at all, it would be a bond that maybe wasn't as big before, because you understand where they're coming from a lot better than you might have. Yeah. So that's pretty, and that goes, by the way, for the aggression component too. First, we're ruling out medical issues. I'm not here to claim that cats don't have chemical imbalances in the same way that humans, have chemical imbalances. I've worked with plenty of them.
They do.
Where, I definitely believe in holistic cures. I don't think that it's the be-all, end-all. I do believe in availing ourselves of what's out there for us.
Yes, whatever helps.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because it surprises a lot of folks that I'm fine with using drugs like Prozac when the circumstances call for it. Yeah. I think that medications for humans and for animals are abused, and I think that in general, the medical community throws up their hands in terms of addressing the underlying issues and throws pills in our general direction.
That's exactly what they do, because they don't have anything else.
Right. They don't.
And there may be no money in an herb or a essence or something. There's no financial incentive either.
Or just trying to get into the mind, the connection of body and mind. I mean, there's look, I think that the holistic movement is gaining a lot of traction, and my business is proof of that.
Yes.
Spirit Essences is proof of that. So I'm doing a little jig over here, but at the same time, I think that. But anyway, I think that with aggression, you have to look at, people know this. When I start having conversations before I even meet the cat, and they'll say to me, "No, he just literally will be sitting there, and he'll get this look, and in a split second, I've got a cat on my face." Or our other cat, or our dog, or our child. That's that absolutely no provocation thing that I have to go explore, but that would lead me to believe that we've got more of an organic brain problem going on.
Right.
Luckily, we can address that now.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. So one of the other issues of aggression I've noticed also with the medical thing that we have to rule out is whether they're in some kind of pain. So like you said, sometimes there's like simply a neurosynapse, kind of a disorder going on.
I mean, even the most simple things. I've had cats snap out on everybody, and it all came down to a bad tooth.
Yeah.
An exposed nerve. Arthritis.
Right.
Irritable bowel disease. I mean,
well, that's the truth.
You know what I mean? It's amazing how. And again, when we work with things like flower essences, what we're saying is that, look, I have a formula called Creek Away. Creek Away is not there to take the place of other herbal supplements, like chondroitin and MSM, and but at the same time, what it's there for is to unblock energy patterns. Is for instance, with me, I'm a perfect example. I wake up in the mornings, and I've had bad knees most of my life, and when the barometric pressure comes down, meaning when there's rain in the forecast, or I'm from back east, it's snow, I would see the color of the sky before I ever got out of bed, and then I'd start to rub my knees before I actually felt the pain. And that's a blocked energy pattern. Yep. And so we do the same thing with Creek Away. What we're trying to do is allow the animal to release the expectations of pain, so then they can allow healing to happen.
I like that.
So,
releasing the expectation of pain is often more painful than the pain.
Right. Well, sure. We have another formula called Trauma Free, which is our first post-traumatic stress disorder formula. And that is there, again, talk about the expectation of pain.
Yeah.
You expect that every time you see, let's just say that the animal is a victim of abuse, that every time I see a man, I should evacuate my bowels.
Yeah.
That's the expectation of pain, the expectation of terror, the expectation of mental beatdown that we can say to them, no, today is going to look like tomorrow, not yesterday. So get with today, because today's a good thing, and tomorrow will be a good thing too.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's good. This is good, Jackson. You're doing such a good work.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's. I'm not. Believe me, I'm not the only one. I think that you do the same kind of work I do, and I think that we're lucky. It's amazing because you've been doing this longer than I have, and it's amazing to know that we're not fringe anymore.
It's working.
We're
not the woo-woo weirdos anymore.
The woo-woo weirdos, that I'm not like the cat boy sitting on the mountaintop handing down, the thing is that I find really amazing is that we can gauge this by when you say what you do for a living, how many people out of 100 say you do what?
Yeah.
I told somebody this the other day, and this is because of some cool stuff that's happening for me, in other fronts, that a year from now, I can guarantee you that where right now 75 out of 100 people say you do what, that number is going to go down to 10 out of 100.
You bet. And speaking of which, you're making some great strides in helping that happen by going mainstream media.
I know.
I know. What can you tell us about what's coming? I know you can't tell us everything.
I can't tell you.
Your lips are sealed.
Most of anything I can't tell you. All I can tell you is that I will. If your listeners watch animal programming, that by the spring, I will be in your living rooms. And how's that? Does that work? Yes.
Yeah, that animal TV thing. Yeah.
Look, it's funny because, and I will definitely come back to you. I think in the early part of the year in January, we'll be able to make more announcements about it. But
good.
We developed this for the last 2 years. We're really proud of what we've done. And look, by and large, the most amazing contribution is that I'm going to be able to spread my message. We're going to be able to have the bully pulpit to talk from, and we're going to be able to save cats.
Yes.
It's not that hard. On a meta level, it's hard because we're trying to change the structure of a system that is just completely broken.
Right.
But
right.
on a your responsibility, my responsibility level, we can keep cats from dying in shelters and dying on the street today. And that's a message we can get out there, and I couldn't be more excited about that.
Me either. And and even beyond just the basics of saving their life, we can enhance the quality of the relationships between people and cats. And cats are brilliant. They are wise beyond our knowing. And when we learn how to connect and relate to them, embrace our inner tiger kind of thing, we become better people. We become better humans.
I mean, I think you're completely right, and I think that another thing that I'm working on a book right now, and it's just a very personal. It's not a how-to. It's not Cats for Dummies. It's just a book about my journey with one of my cats, and obviously I've had many in my life, but this guy who just passed a few months ago, he. Well, I mean, he was a butt kicker. I mean, he taught me more about what I do for a living than, and led me forward. And, really my understanding of cats went kaboom with him. And what I think you and I are both saying is that you, as a cat guardian, you meaning whoever's listening to this right now, can have that kaboom moment. Where you realize that your connection with that individual cat can be translated to a commitment to all cats, just as your commitment with your dogs or your horses or your guinea pigs or your rabbits can be translated in a meta sense, and you realize it's not just about, I've got a responsibility to show up, to volunteer, no, it's not about that. It's about you being complete through that connection. It's not a responsibility. It actually feels really good.
It feels great. Yes.
It's not like I have to vacuum the living room. Let's take out the trash.
Yeah. Well, let's take out the junk and keep the best of the relationship, and build it. Oh.
There is nothing but the best, by the way. I mean, even when you're working through incredible difficulties, and lately I've been working with clients who we're dealing with incredible mountains to climb, where I have to admit on a daily basis, you know what, I'm not the cat god here. I don't know what the hell's going on here. And you and I and your cats, we're going to discover this together. And that process of discovery is... It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's what it's all about. Yeah, it's what life is about, the process of discovery. And
the process of humbling yourself.
Oh, that's,
by the way. Surrender.
That's good.
I mean, every day I have to remind myself that there's something else I have to surrender to.
Good.
And again, in the process of writing this book and dealing with the loss of Benny, the cat that just died, his dying process was unbelievably frustrating. That nobody could figure out what was happening to him.
Oh, no.
And, we're talking specialists on top of specialists. There was no answers to be had. And there came a point where, for someone like me, and this is what I do for a living, and blah, blah, and there came that day where I realized that all I could do was surrender and be with him. And seriously, be with him. In a loving, come on, me and you just go through this, and stop fighting it.
Yes.
These are the kind of lessons that you don't just learn by reading a book. This is, whether it's peeing on the carpet or getting your arm scratched or having to deal with the inevitability of having them die. It's all, this sounds perverted, but it's all a gift.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all a gift, and it's all something that allows you to live, a more Buddha-like life. So.
Yeah. What was it? Eckhart Tolle said, "I've had many Zen masters in my life, all of them cats."
No, did he say that?
He did.
I like him better.
I do too.
Hilarious. That's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And the only thing that keeps them, I think often, the only thing that keeps them from being the Zen masters they are is our interference.
Yes, exactly.
Us trying to impose rules on them and them saying, but I'm a cat.
Uh-huh.
This is how we work.
Yes.
Yes. So, and that, coming full circle to our discussion, I'm not a dog. I'm not about to accept.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Well, let's stop here.
Mm-hmm.
I know we have, I could talk to you literally for days. And I want to come back and let's pick it up again when you get a little closer to revealing, the new shows that are coming out in January of 2011. Mm-hmm. So we'll catch it up again and we'll continue the conversation. I want to thank you for your time, and I hope that everyone listening has a much greater appreciation for their cat and has a better concept of how to become and embrace your inner cat, your Zen master, your own personal Zen master. So thank you. Thanks again for the good work you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to the show. For more information or to listen to other podcasts, go to valhart.com/blog. And if you're someone who values a non-invasive, holistic solution to resolving problems with your dogs, cats, and horses, and you want better behaved, healthier, and happier animals, just go to my website at valhart.com to apply for a complimentary Happy Animal Assessment session. And be sure and remember to look for my CDs on iTunes. Learning how to talk with animals is fun and will change your life. So while you're there at my site, get my free Quick Start Animal Talk course and check out the world's first complete Animal Communication Made Easy system. May the love of animals bless you, teach you, inspire you, heal you, and reconnect you to the circle of life.